Chapter 2, Hidden Facts and New Opportunities. Katherine opened the front door, quickly murmured hi to her aunt and ran straight to her room. "Aunt Millie, Katherine, you missed dinner. You know we do not do that in this house." "Katherine, I know, Aunt. I am so sorry. I worked late." "Aunt Millie, well, it does not matter. You know that one who misses dinner, goes to bed without dinner." "Katherine, yes, Aunt, I know." Katherine did not go to bed. She stayed up late. She was lucky that the aunt did not check her room like the foster parents did. 'Cause she was able to hide her diary and a significant amount of money. She managed to save up from her salaries. But more importantly, since she turned 18 a couple of months ago, she became the legal owner of the one and only apartment her parents owned in Topeka. Her father made a will in order to make sure his daughter was taken care of if something happened to him. The will states that once she is 18 years old she becomes a legal owner of the apartment. Up until the lawyer called her and told her that she did not know that her parents actually bought that apartment. She thought that they had rented it. Katherine decided to sell the apartment and use the money to buy some property in Atchinson. She listed the apartment for sale literally the day she found out it was hers. Her aunt had no knowledge of any of this. Her aunt also did not know that she lost her job. About a month after Katherine listed the apartment for sale, a lovely couple placed an offer for the apartment. She was thrilled. She could just see herself sitting in a backyard of a small house in Atchinson, drinking tea and watching the stars. She did not care who would buy the apartment. She just wanted it sold. Katherine liked the offer. It was more than enough for her to buy a small house in Atchinson, and even remodel it. She accepted the offer right away. Tomorrow she was supposed to go and sign the final papers and collect the money. She decided to tell her aunt about all of this in the morning. Aunt Millie followed strict routine in the morning. She would get up at 7 a.m. sharp every morning. She would neatly fold her 30-year-old nightgown she got as a gift from her late mother when she married Uncle Leonard. Then she would make the bed and make sure that there are no folds scrunched areas. Aunt Millie would then go around the house and open the curtains of each window to let the light into the house. She would then go to the kitchen and start preparing breakfast and coffee. Every morning breakfast was served strictly at 8 a.m, and she would serve 2 bear claws, 2 sausages, 2 eggs and 2 cups of coffee every single morning. One for each person. The one who does not show up for breakfast on time does not get breakfast. After breakfast, Aunt Millie cleans the entire kitchen, and sits on her rocking chair to knit sweaters. Katherine hated breakfasts at Aunt Millie's. She hated things being the same every single day. Once she even caught herself thinking, God, what a boring woman. If someone wanted to kill her, they would just follow her stupid routine and trap her in a blink of an eye. She did not hate Aunt Millie, but she despised her behavior. Especially because she was not always like that. She used to be fun and caring. Aunt Millie Rooney is actually the sister of her maternal grandmother. She was married to Uncle Leonard Rooney. They lived a happy life full of love. One morning 5 years ago, after breakfast, Alfred and their son Leonard prepared to go to work. They arrived at the factory and prepared to do their work. Both of them worked as engineers at a car parts company. That morning one of 2 other colleagues were actually supposed to work the morning shift, but the teams got changed last minute. Unfortunately, there was a big explosion in the factory and Uncle Leonard and his son died on the spot. Aunt Millie will never forget that September 15, 1970. Ever since that day she started acting this way. Probably in order to cope with the pain she felt. The routines she created kept her together. She also started believing that changing the routine actually killed her husband and son, since they were not initially supposed to work that shift. Katherine knew all of this and completely understood Aunt Millie. She just could not stand living with her anymore. After breakfast, Katherine asked Aunt Millie if they could talk. She decided to finally come clean about selling the apartment and moving to Atchinson. Katherine and Aunt Millie sat in the kitchen. Aunt Millie made tea. Katherine felt so nervous but also so excited. Katherine told her everything, but her aunt just started acting out again and that her obsession took over again. While her aunt was murmuring and frantically moved things around the kitchen, Katherine took her suitcase and left the house. She planned to move out in a few days, not right away, but she just couldn't take it anymore. When she got out of that door, she felt like a bird finally being freed of her cage. She went to a nearby motel and paid for a few nights in advance. Katherine drew her diary from its resting place beside her bed and began to write about the final day she spent with Aunt Millie. The memories tumbled into her mind, a disjointed jumble of moments and feelings. Her pen moved hesitantly across the page as she pondered, did she even notice my absence? Did she ever fully grasp that I was gone? Or is she still caught up in the disarray of her routine, grappling with the void left by the disruption? Was I merely a crutch, a temporary balm for her grief, a way to mitigate the pain of her loss? I'm left wondering, diary, if I was just a transient comfort, a placeholder in her life. But one thing I am certain of, I will not miss her. It is time for me to turn the page and start a brand new chapter, one that is entirely my own. With a sigh, she set the diary aside, letting it fall onto her bed. She drifted out onto the balcony, feeling the crisp night air nip at her cheeks. Wrapping herself in a cozy blanket, she settled into a chair and gazed up at the canopy of stars overhead. The chill was invigorating, a stark contrast to the warmth of her tea, which she sipped slowly, savoring each comforting gulp. Her gaze drifted back to the papers sprawled across the small table beside her, house listings from Atchinson. As she perused the listings, Katherine couldn't help but notice the abundance of properties up for sale. The sheer number seemed disproportionate for such a tiny town, but she shrugged it off, attributing it to the natural ebb and flow of small-town life. In her mind, it was a mere consequence of people seeking opportunities elsewhere, in larger cities with greater prospects. If anything, it presented her with a smorgasbord of choices. She was determined to find a place that resonated with her soul. She scrutinized the listings for hours, but nothing seemed to capture her imagination. Each house she encountered was either too small, too worn, or simply lacking in character. Her attention wandered to two modest homes located in the town center. Although she circled them tentatively, neither truly sparked her enthusiasm. They would remain on her list, a fallback if she couldn't find something better. Just as she was about to fold the papers and head to bed, a particular listing caught her eye. The photograph on the page displayed a magnificent Victorian-style mansion, its grandeur subtly faded by time. The house boasted a sprawling yard, though it was overgrown and in need of a serious trim. Located on the outskirts of Atchinson, the mansion was isolated, with the nearest neighbor a good 5-minute walk away. Katherine's heart skipped a beat. This distance from other homes was exactly what she craved: solitude. She envisioned herself sitting on the mansion's porch in the evenings, wrapped in a soft blanket with a steaming mug of hot chocolate. Her imagination wandered to a room she would convert into a study, where she could pour her thoughts and aspirations onto paper, working toward her dream of becoming a celebrated writer. Another room would be her art studio, a haven where she could finally explore her love for painting and drawing, pursuits she had longed to pursue but never had the chance. She saw herself transforming the sprawling yard into a vibrant garden, planting vegetables and nurturing a small oasis of greenery. The possibilities seemed endless, a canvas waiting to be painted with her dreams and desires. Katherine felt a sense of excitement and liberation as she pictured this new chapter of her life unfolding. The mansion was more than just a house, it was a doorway to a world she had always yearned for, a sanctuary where her creativity and solitude could thrive. But how on earth will she afford this? This was a freaking mansion, and she had only the money from the apartment and some small amount saved up from her salaries at news haunters. She realized that she did not even check the price. Looking far down on the page listing, Katherine realized that this huge mansion is being sold for less than she sold her apartment. Katherine's eyes widened as she skimmed the listing details once more, her mind racing. It was indeed odd for such an imposing mansion complete with sprawling grounds, ornate architecture, and a history that surely must add value to be priced so low. She knew that real estate in this area, even for properties in less pristine condition, rarely dipped below the six-figure mark. She went through the photos, trying to discern any visible issues that might explain the bargain. The mansion's grandeur was undeniable: towering columns, a grand foyer with a sweeping staircase, and an impressive array of stained glass windows that cast colorful reflections across the floor. The rooms, while dusty and seemingly abandoned, were spacious and beautifully crafted. If anything, the place looked like it had been frozen in time, a testament to an era of opulence. The listing mentioned nothing out of the ordinary: no structural problems, no major renovations needed. It wasn't as if the place was in disrepair, rather, it had an air of being preserved, almost untouched by the passage of time. Katherine frowned, trying to piece together why anyone would part with such a magnificent estate for so little. Her curiosity got the better of her. She circled the contact information and decided to call the seller first thing in the morning. Katherine hesitated for a moment before picking up the phone. There had to be more to this story. The price was too good to be true, and Katherine needed to know why. Katherine took a deep breath and dialed the number listed for the real estate agent. As the phone rang, she glanced around her apartment, momentarily distracted by her surroundings as her mind raced with thoughts of the mansion. The call was answered on the third ring. "Seller, hello, this is Emily Carter with Carter & Associates," came the cheerful voice on the other end. "Katherine, hi, Emily. This is Katherine Blanchard. I'm calling about the mansion on Oak Street in Atchinson. I noticed that the price seems unusually low for such a property. Could you provide me with more details?" Katherine's tone was professional, though a hint of curiosity crept through. There was a brief pause before Emily responded, "Oh, yes. The mansion has certainly attracted some attention. Are you interested in scheduling a viewing?" Katherine nodded, even though Emily couldn't see her. "Yes, I'd like to. But I'm curious about the pricing. It's quite a bit lower than other properties in the area. Is there a specific reason for that?" Emily's voice softened slightly. "Well, the property is quite old, and while it has a lot of character, it also requires ongoing maintenance and repairs. The price reflects that. It's really more a matter of the mansion's age rather than any specific issues." Katherine raised an eyebrow. "So, it's just the age of the property?" "Exactly," Emily said, her tone reassuring. "It's a beautiful home with a lot of history, but older properties often come with higher upkeep costs. We priced it lower to reflect that." Katherine felt a twinge of disappointment but remained intrigued. "I see. Well, I'm still very interested in seeing it. When would be a good time for a viewing?" "Let me check my schedule," Emily said. There was a moment of rustling papers before she continued, "How does the Saturday morning sound? We can arrange a time that works best for you." "Saturday morning works for me," Katherine confirmed. "Thank you, Emily. I look forward to seeing the mansion." "Great. I'll send you the details and directions later today. See you on Saturday, Katherine." As Katherine ended the call, she felt a mix of anticipation and curiosity. The mansion was now a definite possibility, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. She glanced back at the listing, eager to uncover what lay behind the allure of the old mansion.